I still love it. I love it.
Me too. That
Oh, but too bad I changed the backdrop.
yeah, that is.
Oh yeah, I
classic.
know you did.
Yeah.
You did.
But
Yeah.
I still love it.
Yeah, no, and I didn't even know you could play the piano.
He plays
I didn't
really
know I
well.
could either, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
plays very well.
I just learned.
Oh my! What the hell are we talking about today?
Well, apparently, people want us to talk about. I don't know how people think Tesla runs. I don't think Elon spends a lot of his time discussing. We're going to do this price here. I think there are other people who are involved in that. But yeah, Tesla did drop prices on its Model Y again.
Yes.
Which is good. I know not everyone likes that. I am very pro dropping prices. I understand my vehicle's worth less. I'm just okay with that. I'm okay to keep getting EV prices cheaper and cheaper so more and more people can adopt them and make that transition. We need cheaper vehicles in the market, period. If they end up being EVs, for me, all the better. Great. Let's do that. But we need cheaper vehicles just out there.
Just goes to show how much overpriced the Teslas really are. Oh,
well, let's see. How much is Cadillac compared to a Tesla?
Oh, stop. That's a luxury brand, though. Come on.
Tesla's a premium brand, not a luxury brand.
You may I say something? After Detroit, I'm not even buying Tesla as a premium brand.
Yeah, right. Please. I agree, Ray.
Oh, please. Please.
What do you mean, please? I love the technology. I love the software. There wasn't anything premium about that car. Nothing. Okay. I'm sorry.
I'm just gonna disagree with you completely.
I know you are.
I know. That's fine. That's fine. I will say that for those of you who heard the Ray's experience, and I know I was sick last week, but we had some pushback in the chat. I will say this: the ride was way louder than my Model 3. I don't know how much of that were the really crappy Detroit roads that. Okay, like I'm never going to complain about roads in California again because those were just awful. I don't know what you guys do out there. You built the first road and you said, well, that's the last time we're going to do anything to maintain that.
Out there, they have winter.
Yeah.
Okay. But apparently all these 100 years, they can't figure out how to repair the roads afterwards.
You can't. It's called wild temperature fluctuations during the winter. So
it's
you might go a
maintaining
week where
your
it's
roads
10 degrees, and then you'll have a week where it's in the 40s, and the cement doesn't like that. The thawing.
Okay, but there's a way to maintain roads still. Because I've been to, I don't know if you've ever been to a place called Boston, but they have roads there, and they have extreme temperatures changes there, and those roads aren't freaking Detroit roads. Those roads were awful.
Yes.
Horrible.
All right. Michigan's got bad roads.
But I'm not going to blame it all on the road. I will say that car was rattly and loud beyond just the road noise, which is a thing. I know you guys are like, oh no, road noise, The engine does drown that out. The radio does drown part of that out. If you guys don't believe it, then you don't believe in science. That's fine. You don't have to.
We're going to go there now, huh?
But that's right. I mean, it does drown some of that out. And if you don't think your engine noise does that, then tell me why you can hear when the engine is out of sync. Right, Phil? When you start up your car, if there's something wrong with that engine noise immediately catches you like, oh, that doesn't sound right. But you don't hear it the rest of the time.
Man. If something's wrong, it's got to be loud.
Look, a lot of people who drive manual do it by ear, right? Because you can hear when the engine needs to be shifted. There's a lot of that.
Sure.
You get used to an engine noise. It's a white noise that you don't notice until you notice it. That does drown out some road noise. I am saying beyond all that car was rattly and loud. It just was. There's not an experience I'm used to. I was reminded by my aunt.
Yes.
Who, if you guys remember the road trip that my sister, my aunt, and I took up and around, and my sister came on and did that. I was reminded by my aunt who said, the back of your cars, not nearly as comfortable as the front. It's a very hard ride, and it's very uncomfortable in the back. And I had kind of forgot about that. And then when we're talking about the Model 3, so people looking at Tesla, that is something to consider, which is even my car, which rode much smoother than that Model Y, said the back was much more uncomfortable. And she had a hard time for over 2 hours in the back. She had a hard time riding in my car in the back, but never any problem up front.
But it's premium.
It is a premium vehicle.
It's premium.
It's not a luxury vehicle, but it's a premium vehicle. You can tell by the leather seats and the nice appointments in it. And
Wait.
vegan leather seats.
Yeah, that's not leather, man. Not leather. Don't even try to go there.
Sorry, we didn't kill any animals for it. Sorry about that. My bad.
Vegan leather, huh?
It's yeah.
Yeah, I think they call that vinyl.
Yeah,
No,
I was just going to say,
it's
Ray,
most definitely not vinyl.
It's
most
vinyl.
definitely not. You guys know it's not vinyl. You sat in the damn car.
So
you know
it felt like vinyl to me. It feels like all those other leatherette that all the luxury brands put in when you buy their base level car. It's the same stuff.
Yeah, MB text, leatherette in a BMW. Yeah, nice way of saying it ain't really leather.
It's not leather.
Do we have any videos from me driving that damn thing?
Oh my God, if we could.
Yeah, we do.
We'll share a couple.
Are we gonna is that going to be like part of a tribute to me once I'm dead? Or can we share this with people before I die?
Yeah, I was going to put it up on the social media, and then I wanted to edit it more, and I just sort of got sick and forgot. I will put that up there. So I will put it. Actually, I'll put it up on this channel. I'll do the shorts for the electric channel. I'll put it up. I just got to bleep out some Ray language in the videos. Because we know how Zach feels about cursing.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, apologize. Apologize in advance. But if it's good enough for a congressperson to say it, it's certainly good enough for me.
Again, I said it in the last show. I will say it again. Are we taking our behavioral cues from Congress now? Is that what you were advocating, Ray? Because I think maybe not taking our behavioral cues from Congress.
I don't know. I'm just telling you where I heard that word.
I can get some shorts and a hoodie and just wear it every episode if that's what you want. If that's what we're gonna do, that's fine.
Well, if that's what you'd like to do, yeah.
So something that you taught, one of the things we're going to talk about today, I just wanted to get the Tesla thing out there from my response, which was that indeed that car was very rattly and loud. That was not.
I'm so glad you recognized that.
Yeah.
No, it was. I will tell you, you're like, come ride in my car. You do not hear that. And Phil, I know you said might be the wheels. I don't know what the hell that was, but there were definitely some rattles in there where I'm like, what?
Well, think about it. Think about it. If you're those are what 21s on there. Your car has what 18, 19s on it. Okay, like if you're riding on that much of rubber, you're shaking up a lot of stuff. I mean, even more so than you normally would be.
And that was loud. It just was. It was not a very good ride. It was not I've test driven Model Ys. They just didn't feel like that one felt. So beyond the fact that they had chill mode locked in and you couldn't launch the vehicle, and then they had it set.
That was a bummer. And
then they had the speed set at 85 miles an hour, which I assure you, from driving in Detroit, it was not fast enough. Because I'd be in the slow lane at 85 miles an hour, people passing me right and left, and was like, okay, so speed laws mean a lot less in Michigan than they do in California, I guess, where we are starting to set up now automated cameras to send you speeding tickets in California.
No, thank you. Another reason why I won't live there. Another reason.
Any number of those. I mean, they have those in Maryland.
For speeding. It's the first ones in California for speeding. We had all kinds of red lights and all that, but this will be a speed.
On the Beltway, they have them set up. You just have to know where they are, before you get that little envelope that says, "Hey, this is you. You owe us money."
Yeah. So see, Igor loves his Model Y. Like I said, I've test driven Model Ys before. Never had the problem. I like them. I love my Model 3. That particular one was
Hey,
just didn't do
look,
it for me
benefit.
either.
I'm going to give a bit of benefit here. Probably when that car was picked up brand new, probably felt great, but then you start. It just loosened up rather quickly, and all the rattles
It
started
only had
happening, and
40
all that.
some thousand miles on it, for
Yeah,
goodness sake.
I mean, I
that was
know,
my
but
thing. It
I
had
mean,
such such low miles on it. It was like, oh, okay. Like that was just like if that was my only experience in a Model Y, like it was Ray's,
Yeah.
I would probably feel like Ray about it. I'd be like, no, there's no friggin' way. Luckily, I drive my Model 3. I know what it is. I know, all about it, and like I don't have that problem. I wish your ride was better. I don't think that was typical, but I
I
know everyone
I
thinks I'm just going to be a Tesla defender, but
I think you feel the same way about Tesla and your Model 3 as I feel about my Mini Clubman. I love driving my Mini Clubman. Now, I don't love getting in and out of it. That's a little more difficult for me than I would prefer. But I absolutely love driving it. I love the ride. I love the handling. It's fun to drive. So I get it when you're in a vehicle that you love. I get it. I really do. It's just that particular Tesla. Um, it
yeah.
just wasn't a very nice car. It just wasn't. Now the technology was wonderful, and
No, yeah.
and the software was wonderful. Um,
And
but
Phil's bravery was wonderful. None
yeah,
of us
what do you
did
mean?
what,
Oh, because I did the self-driving.
because you did the self-driving the whole trip, and not even I would do that. So Phil had some bravery. I was sitting in the seat watching. I was just like,
Hey,
you're gonna put your hand on the
look.
wheel. You're gonna put your hand on the wheel.
I still had my
It was great.
hands right there by the
You
wheel,
did. No, you did because you had
ready
to.
to grab it.
Like you
More
did
so because you can't.
yeah.
I trusted the car more than I trusted the people on either side of me looking to do something out of
Well,
the ordinary,
that's
right?
always my thing with self-driving. Like, it's not the car, it's can it predict human behavior,
yes,
which is erratic and stupid.
That is
Uh,
true.
you know,
Yeah.
and I always have that with self-driving. Like, okay, I'm all for self-driving, but I feel like all the vehicles sort of need to be programmed the same. Because that's the problem now, right? With humans, is you don't really know how that guy's going to react. Hey, the
Mhm.
light's yellow. Is the guy in front of me going to speed up or slam on his brakes?
Right. You
I
don't know.
don't know which one he's going to do.
Mhm.
Whereas if they were all self-driving, we're all programmed the same, at least you would know what the protocol is going to happen, and each car would know. So
Exactly.
it's
Yep.
the unpredictability of humans that is always going to be the problem in there.
Mhm.
I mean, we just suck. But getting back to Ray, what you have said about these EV credits,
yes.
got some good news today, right? From
Well, yeah,
potentially good news for car dealers.
yes, because the
Okay.
conversation we had the other day is that car dealerships are cash flow sensitive. It's cash flow intensive, and one of the things dealers hate is having to wait on getting their money. Dealer principals always harp with their finance people and their management teams about CITs, contracts in transit, so that when somebody signs up for a car loan, the idea is to get that car loan off to the bank as quickly as possible, so that within 72 hours you can get paid from the bank. You can get the bank's money into your bank account.
Mhm.
And a lot of banks do it electronically now. But there's still banks out there where you actually have to send them the physical bank contract before they'll pay you. And so the concern was that with the new rules going into effect January 1st, that basically you can get the tax credit up front and utilize it up front as a cash down payment. Once you file all the paperwork with the IRS, how long was it going to take to actually get paid by the government? And the good news is the IRS has committed to paying that within 3 business days, which to me is absolutely amazing that they've committed to something like that. Now, whether or not they can actually live up to that's another thing, but at least right now, because they understand that it is a cash flow intensive business, and they realize that the dealers can't wait 30, 45 days to get paid from the government. And as I've always said, it's not like the government isn't good pay. They are. They're just typically slow pay. They're in no rush to pay you. So,
and it would depend on whether that government was being funded if they could pay you too, right?
Well, yeah. Without funding, I guess they couldn't pay you. But the thing that I read that and I thought, okay, well, that's a good sign for the dealers, and it's a good sign for the buying public, but the whole thing is like rife for fraud.
There's so much fraud that can go on in there, and they have all these restrictions on used, meaning that the $25,000 cap, but they put that $25,000 cap has to include fees, not government fees or taxes, but all the dealer fees and anything that they can add on. And you're
right, because because that a dealer will put in a super low selling price to keep it under that, but then so glad that they're saying nope, you can't do that because you're going to add back in fees and all that, and they're going to capture that under that amount too, so it'll take it over the 25 anyway. So glad that they're actually looking at that.
But there's so much that they're not looking at, and the most restrictions are on the used, right? The $25,000 used, which. Good luck getting $25,000 used vehicle, period. Let alone an EV. Although, that's right around what I got my Model 3 for. Hopefully, they'll keep coming down more. But the new doesn't. I mean, the new restriction is much higher, so they don't have as much control there. And as you said, right? I mean, there's just so many places the dealers can cheat here, and if it comes back. It's not the dealer who has to give the money back, right, Ray?
No, it's the customer, because everybody's signing forms that the customer is literally going to qualify for this tax credit. Now, that tax credit is going to be turned over to the dealer within 3 days. It could be months and months and months, if not over a year, in time before that customer actually files his tax return, and it turns out that they didn't qualify for that credit at all. And allegedly, there's actually going to be people at the IRS that are going to keep an eye out on this, which I find very hard to believe. And that if the person utilized that tax credit but really didn't qualify for that tax credit, they will be expected to pay that back in its entirety. Well, do you really think that's going to happen? Do you really think anybody's going to be cross-checking tax returns with tax credits that were? I mean, the government now, the left hand has no idea what the right hand's doing. Why would we think that suddenly the IRS is going to set up a team of people to necessarily review tax documents to make sure that people that got these tax credits actually qualified for them? There are certain things that I think the government can be good at. There's certain things that I think the government won't be good at. And when handing out taxpayer money, that's not one of. They're good at handing it out.
Yeah,
they're really bad at making sure that it goes to the right people and is utilized in the right way.
Are you saying things like the PPP program and cash for clunkers weren't all on board and up and up? And
I am saying whenever there's billions of dollars of taxpayer money made available, that there are any number of people who will figure out how to get their hands on it fraudulently, and we really have very limited recourse because we don't put any resources into making sure that it's being utilized the way it was meant to be utilized. And that, and that doesn't just go with this. I mean, hell, look at what are the Air Force pays like $5,000 for a toilet seat. I mean,
well, I mean, that's how black ops are funded. You know that. You know that part of it. But I mean, we're dealing with car dealers who have earned a reputation as maybe not always the most above board industry there is. I mean, probably still more honest than Congress, but
barely. Yeah.
And they've created that reputation for themselves. And certainly we're not saying all of them. There are lots of really great dealerships out there, really great dealers. But the industry as a whole has created this reputation for themselves, and now we're introducing free money to them to sell vehicles. And we're just saying, no, I'm sure there won't be a lot of rampant fraud in an industry where there's already kind of rampant fraud. Where would have the FEC coming in going, hey guys, maybe we need to set some new rules. And the dealer's going, nah, we're not going to do that. We'll just pay off some Congress people and just keep doing what we're doing. And everyone's okay with it. So what could go wrong here?
The only thing I would say is I can appreciate the push globally to a certain degree towards electric vehicles. I do. But when you start utilizing taxpayer money in that manner in order to encourage it, that the fraud associated with it is an added expense that perhaps we need to consider before we say this is the best way to get people to get into EVs.
Well, and I will say, we do have a comment in here, which I have mentioned before, and I will agree with it again. Yes, traditional OEMs have been getting money from taxpayers their entire existence.
Yes, no, I get
oil companies, coal companies, power plants. There's billions and billions and billions pumped in from taxpayer monies to all these sources all the time. And that's not, EVs aren't unique with that part of it. But that doesn't mean that this is not a valid point of taxpayer refunds going to EVs. It's one of those things that I say all the time, because this is my initial pushback as well. Always like, well, do you know how much we're paying for oil and gas? Like these subsidies are nothing. But to go back to a very old thing is pointing to bad behavior to justify bad behavior is maybe not the best thing. So if we want to fight the EV shouldn't be subsidized thing, just going to look at oil as if that we're all okay with that. That's bad too. But that's not what we're talking about.
And I don't know that I'm saying we shouldn't subsidize it. I think I'm just saying we shouldn't stroke the check on behalf of the customer from the taxpayer's checkbook. Okay, there could be another way to do it without the government actually forking over the money before we really know whether or not that customer qualifies.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not one on subsidies. Just not, like, personally, I'm not. Someone here mentioned the ethanol and the corn subsidies. I think the corn subsidies has done more to hurt American health than they've ever helped anybody. So I'm all for that. So But I just, when we're talking about an aversion to EV subsidies and cutting the checks, I find myself wanting to push back with the other subsidies, but I do try to put in my head, look, bad behavior, pointing to bad behavior to justify bad behavior. Let's not, like, I don't want to get involved in that. I want to say, look, these rebates up front, I don't know. I of course I like them because I owned an EV, and
Yeah.
and I want to spur that technology forward. Um, but I know there's lots of tax implications that these EV companies already get. Tesla lives on trading tax credits, right? I mean, they really do this, the cap and trade and those credits. So there's already some money going in there already. So it's a legitimate pushback. You just want to, I agree with this as a new industry that needs to move forward. Lest we forget, government built all the roads for the gas stations to go up. We subsidize all the oil to build the gas stations to, the U.S. is in the business of subsidizing new industry, period. All new industries. So this is how they're doing it. This one, okay-ish, but there will have to be an end of this at some point. Oh, geez, I know, right? The closest thing to our eternal life we'll ever see on Earth is a government program, right? It's a quote from Ronald Reagan, and we still have some of those policies as he put in place, subsidizing things such as corn to this day. So, he had a point.
Yeah.
But speaking of the EV push, we do have some
Moving
other
on.
news from Hyundai Genesis. Yeah. Phil, your favorite people, right? Hyundai, that's your favorite company, right? I believe.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you mean by that, but they're okay.
I think what we've seen in the last year and a half, 2 years from Hyundai Kia is the dealerships have been more unreasonable than the companies. Right,
Yeah,
Phil?
absolutely.
I know Phil knows just as well as I have, looking at all the deals that we've seen over the last couple of years. It's
Hyundai's
always the
getting better.
dealerships going.
Hyundai dealers are better. Excuse me. Kia, not so much. Still,
no, Kia's better, but they're still hardline. Now Toyota is becoming the new Kia.
Yep.
I was like, Toyota dealers are becoming nope, we're not going to work with you anymore brand, which is unfortunate. But so they saw Hyundai Motor posted a 10% rise in the third quarter in vehicle sales between Hyundai and Genesis. Yeah.
How they're doing that with virtually not a whole lot of inventory is interesting.
Yeah.
Also.
And it was 8% of their sales were EVs. That's what caught my attention. That was the very surprising thing. Although they keep lumping Genesis, I'm unfamiliar with the Genesis EV, but the Ioniq 5, Ioniq 6, and were 8% for September of their total sales.
Well, haven't they said that they really want to be the major competitor to Tesla?
They do. And, to go along with this, they actually had also announced that they will be using the North American charging standard starting next year as well, which I think any brand who's not on board there now needs to rethink their strategy if you're going to go forward in America. There's too many brands now using that connector, and clearly that's what the new infrastructure is going to be. So if you're not on that, which is free. Tesla's offered it for free. Like you can adopt and use it. So they kind of need to be on that and going there. And that's not to use the Tesla network for free, by the way, just the connector.
Yes,
yeah, just the connector. You can get onto Tesla's network for free. That's where but like all the new charging stations, all the new charging networks are going to be there. So, and look, if Hyundai Genesis, if 8% of their total sales are EVs, in September, and growing. They're expecting a larger increase in it. It seems like the business is booming, and I know we have a lot of never EVers, ironically here more than anywhere else on the EV channel, which is fine. That's what we do. We're okay with that. But
creates
then
debate.
when
Healthy debate.
yeah, it is, and that we have people fighting for our side somehow in the comments sometimes, and like, it's okay to be here, not like EVs. But Clean Technica did a study, and they found 54% of ICE vehicle drivers say they're ready to make the switch to EV as their next purchase or lease. I don't.
Did they poll these people from California?
I'm not. Well,
I want to know where they talk to these folks.
Yeah, where are they from? Yeah.
No, they. Where did they got them from? All over the place. It was a Harris poll, so it was a national poll. But I
National in California,
and I don't know what they mean by next vehicle. So and I look through the article, because what I run into daily when I talk to people is they're getting ready to purchase a vehicle, but they're saying, but I'm not on EV yet. I think I'm going to purchase this one, and then my next vehicle is going to be probably an EV. So
yeah, because the vehicle after next, they're going to be buying into it.
Here's the real question: is that 54% of the 17% of the people who feel like they can still afford to buy a car?
Well, when they said what's stopping you from making the move to EV right now, 58% said affordability. 54% said convenience to charge. 48% said more availability of seating options, which I think we've talked about a few times, which is, we keep saying we want cheaper, smaller cars, but Americans want SUVs.
Yes.
They just do. Like, that's the number one selling market by, trucks are.
Yep.
47% said more storage. 46% said more body styling.
I'm in that camp. I would.
45% said safety, which I thought was a little like, by all measures, almost every EV is safer than its ICE counterparts. So that one was a little odd to me, but that's about, like, the rest of them. I agree, and I know Phil, like, body styling is out there because, as Ray says all the time, EVs all look the same. But if you come out with a unique looking one, he hates that too. So whatever.
Are you trying to suggest that the Cybertruck is unique looking?
Yeah, I think he was trying to go there. I mean, it is unique. It is.
I'm just saying, look, you come out with one that doesn't look like anything else, and you don't like that either. So I feel like you might be a little Goldilocks situation, Ray.
Well, perhaps, yeah. I don't know. I maybe I just like them to look good, and that Cybertruck.
Well, no, because you don't.
And
like
that
the Cybertruck.
that Cybertruck only looks good to Tesla fanboys. Okay, everybody else with eyes that work take a look at that and they go, "Get the hell out of here! That is so damn ugly." But Tesla fanboys look at it and go, "Oh yeah, that's hot. That that ain't hot." Okay, I'm sorry, that's just not. I'd rather drive some of the stuff out of Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome than that Cybertruck.
Well, it's very close to those. It's very close to those already. So
yeah.
But I would like to see the price on it, because for me, I know I'm a Tesla fanboy, but when you look at the Cybertruck, you go convenience, ease to charge. Well, the Tesla network definitely covers a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
More availability of seating. It's a king cab truck, lots of seating options in there. More storage. It's got a 6-foot bed.
Yeah.
On top of that, so
probably more rattles.
And then body styling. Well, so we'll see, because definitely the exoskeleton design of the Cybertruck is either going to really help shore up and get rid of those rattles, or it's going to make it much worse. It's going to be one or the other, that's for sure. But I think a lot of these complaints are sort of handled with the Cybertruck, except for those who don't like the body styling. But also, we don't know what it's going to cost still. So
I think Igor says it's $88,000 starting point.
You will see.
That's $88,000 too much.
Yeah, I don't. I'm guessing it's not going to be quite that high, just based on Elon's comments on the F-150. But Elon's not always known to make rational comments.
Yeah, you can't.
So
you can't.
So maybe not. So maybe not. Yeah.
Oh no.
I don't know. I don't know how high he was when he made the comment in the first place. So.
Yeah.
Oh, you're funny.
But I agree in the main points of the survey. I think whether you agree that 54% of people, but I do believe 54% of people probably said that, and they probably don't mean the car they're buying right now.
Yeah.
They mean in 3 to 5 years. Like I just talked to a member this morning who's getting into a Dodge, and he wants an EV, but he wants to wait for 3 years to see what the offerings are. And I do agree in that. Like there's not next year really we start ramping up all the different types, and then by 2026, 2027 we'll have a lot more options. And I think assuming that they're affordable options, that this could be about right.
We shall see. It's getting close to lunchtime for me, kids.
It is. So, real quick question. After the ride in Detroit, Phil and Ray, what would it take to get you into an EV? Is there anything, or are you now just
a gun pointed at my head?
That's the one thing we didn't see in Detroit that I kind of expected to.
There's really nothing that could get me into an EV at this point. And the reason realistically is because I don't drive enough, and it's not convenient for me living in a condo where we don't have charging. So that for better or for worse, I will remain in ICE vehicles as long as I continue to be able to drive and afford a vehicle. And
no mini EV for you?
No mini EV for me. And that's and I'm not saying that because I think EVs are inherently bad. That's not what I think. I don't think they're inherently bad, but I don't think that they make a lot of sense for somebody who realistically, when his son isn't spending his summer at the shore, realistically drives less than 4,000 miles a year. Okay. And has no place to charge. So that for me is the reason why there will not be an EV in my future. Now I will sit here and I will bet dollars to donuts that Phil will get himself an EV at a certain point.
I'm going to be forced into it at some point, right?
Well, you're a car enthusiast, and so I think that one of these that's going to come out, you're going to go, that one's kind of piqued my interest.
I do think in time, Ray, as they start to really kind of broaden their design aspects of how these cars look, how they perform, and really have a broad range of options, right? Because they're really just built right now as like a mainstream type of vehicle, right? To get people into EVs, and it's your A to B car, right? Basically. But once they start broadening that out, you get sports cars involved, you get convertibles, and start broadening that a bit more. Then I might start taking it a bit more seriously and maybe try one out at that point. But it's just what's there now just isn't, it's people just are, in my opinion, people are just getting it because they don't want to pay for gas. They don't want to be bothered with that, and they're getting into the new EV world. And it's just, again, just a bland A to B, get you from one point to another.
I'll disagree on the bland, but I do agree that
we could talk about that.
Yeah,
but I mean,
but I do agree that they need to broaden out and be more. You need more model options right now. Be honest, there's only really 3 manufacturers that anyone's interested in, and one of them has over 60% market share. So like, yeah, there definitely needs to be more options, and they do need to listen to people like you, Phil, the car enthusiasts who, you're very big on your hand stitched leather and those kind of things.
I like it.
Yeah, which is,
especially if I'm paying the money.
Those vehicles need to be out there. Absolutely. And they need to listen to that, and it needs to broaden into an overall market and not just the niche market. Because I think you're right. I mean, I think California does show gas prices are, our gas prices are over $6 here, just everywhere in the state. So, and that's just regular gas. So, yeah, of course, there's high adoption here. Plus, we're very tech people, and we like as Ray said, and Zach said, and you've even said, you all like the tech of the Tesla, even if you hated everything else. You like the tech of the Tesla, and California's very tech people. We like early adopting, and we like, great. So, I think that is partially why you see such an increase in sales in California versus the rest of the nation. But if they want to get other people, not only do you need to figure out the cold weather thing, like for where you are, Phil, but
in hot weather too,
a variety of
both
things.
Extremes.
Yeah,
both extremes.
Well, the hot weather is a more permanent damage to your battery too.
Yes.
Cold weather is only while it's cold.
Yes.
Right. I'll get over 120 degrees for, an extended period of time, and that can start permanently damaging. So agreed. As long as we keep having those summers like they've had in Arizona, or when it's say October and it's going to be 100 degrees in Sacramento, they need to figure some of that stuff out. We'll see.
So, yeah, someday, once I start seeing some better designs, some better stuff coming out, I know it will. I know it will come out. It's just, it ain't going to happen anytime soon. So
I don't know, Phil, don't you like the Celestiq?
No. In fact, I was just going to bring that up. Like the way Cadillac is going, their designs, I just don't like. I don't like the back end of them. How they just kind of like bubble out.
Yeah.
I just don't like it. And it's going to turn me off if that's the way Cadillac is going in their overall, design. I don't know.
It sounds like Phil's someday and I'm no day.
We'll see.
That's a good assessment, Ray.
Yes. And now I'm going to go do lunch. You kids can do whatever the hell it is you want to do from this point forward, but I'm going to do lunch.
Awesome.
So thank you for allowing me to be here.
Thank you for being here. Thank you, Phil, as always, for being here as well.
Yeah, I love coming here.
Yeah, and I will get the Ray driving the Model Y video out.
Please.
There's some things I wanted to edit in there, and apologize for bouncing off. And then the plan is to be releasing a pre-recorded video on Wednesdays, and then we will be live here on Fridays from now.
Very good.
As well, Ray works on a very special project that I think everyone is going to be very excited about. So we'll see how that goes. We'll announce that later.
Okay, works for me.
So, thanks for being here, everyone. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Ray.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. See
you guys next week.